Hello, and welcome to Ask Away. We are your hosts and Sam Tina. We are so excited you're here with us. Allow us to introduce our show before we give you a little more information about ourselves and how we got here. Ask Away is a podcast born out of curiosity and conversation. Each episode, we will cover a variety of questions and topics in the honorable battle against ignorance. We'll cover a full spectrum of questions from the super silly questions kids ask their teachers, to random shower thoughts, to harder, serious questions that are relevant in our world today. If you want answers to all your questions and questions you never thought to ask, with a side of entertainment, you're in the right place. We're so happy to have you. And with that being said, we'll introduce ourselves. You want to start?
Sure. I'm Tina. I'm Sam's mom.
Yeah.
Um, I've been in Austin, Texas most of my life. I'm a substitute teacher at an elementary school in the neighborhood and have lots of stories to tell there.
Oh, yeah.
um, and we're just very excited about starting this podcast with my girl.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Sam. I'm Tina's daughter. I'm 23, born and raised in Austin, Texas, and I just moved across the country to Rhode Island a couple months ago. So it's a big
Yes,
life
she
change for
did.
me. So unfortunately, we're recording this podcast virtually, very far away from each other. And yeah, I guess I'll explain where we got the idea for this podcast, because this has been an idea we've had for 2-3 years, maybe at this point.
At least two.
At
Yeah.
least 2. It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. We're finally doing it. But it basically came about where I had a question. I think it was a question regarding like pronouns towards the trans community, which can be a heavier topic. There's lots of hate thrown that direction. And so I had a question that I was like, it could be perceived as maybe coming from a place of hate or judgment, but it was really just a self-aware. I know I'm very ignorant on this topic, and I would love to not be. I would love to have the information, the correct information directly from the source, and know how to be respectful and how to treat that community the best I can, because that's how I was raised by lovely Tina here. So it was kind of that idea where I was like, obviously I could Google it, but sometimes it's nice to just go to the source and ask someone. And I'm also very aware that in situations like that, it would not be the trans community's responsibility to educate me on how to be respectful to them. You know what I mean? But, I just wanted a safe place where you can ask those kinds of questions where maybe like it's sensitive subject or you're embarrassed to ask it, you're afraid to ask it because it is a touchy subject. But it comes from a good place of, no, I just know I'm ignorant and I would really like to not be. So that's where it came from. But we're going to cover a whole spectrum of super silly random questions where it's like, you could live without this information. You didn't need that information by any means.
Right. And you might already know this information.
Right. Maybe it'll help you in a future trivia round, trivia night, or
This is
maybe,
true. Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely the place to come for trivia questions.
Yeah.
But it'll also go to the other end of the spectrum where we tackle hard conversations, because oftentimes hate is stemmed from ignorance. So if we can fight ignorance a little bit, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, the questions we address we might be influenced by whatever's going on in the world at the time.
Exactly.
Like my question today.
Ooh,
I had one in mind, and I'm thinking, you know what? I do.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, that being said, you want to go into your question?
Great leadway into that question.
I want to know.
Yeah. So, as we all know, we just switched. We ended daylight savings time, and now we're in standard time. And I always just hear everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people complaining about that and talking about it like, oh, don't forget to, turn your clocks back or forward, whichever ours was back, fall back. So, so I did some digging into like, why we do this and why we even have it in the first place. Like, what?
I feel like every time it comes around, people always ask, why do we do this? But I never actually look it up or find the answer. Right. But every single time we ask, why are we doing this? What's the point? Like, this is really inconvenient, but we never actually get to the answer.
Exactly. And I know, what I was taught growing up, things, which I'm going to dive into a tiny little bit because I'm like, oh, because I found something out about it. I'll get there. But so what is daylight savings time and why do we do it? That's my question. I'm gonna,
Tell us.
yeah, we need to know, right? So I think we all know daylight saving time is a practice of moving the clocks forward an hour in
Hmm.
the spring, and then so spring forward, that's the way that comes, and setting them back again in the fall back, which was what we just did. So we either gain an hour or we lose an hour. And a lot of people, they don't want they don't want the evening darkness time to be sooner, like where Sam is right now.
Hmm.
A
It was
major
dark at
change.
5 o'clock. That is a
Yeah,
big change for me.
it was a big change. I mean, it
Ugh,
got when we were just visiting her, and it got dark, early enough there. 6
right.
o'clock was early enough. I'm in Texas, so our daylight lasts a little bit longer, and that's a big change for my girl who's not used to that. The
Yeah.
darkness coming sooner, but now it's
Hmm.
even earlier,
Yeah.
and so kind of dove into like what is standard time, what is daylight saving time, and it's daylight saving time. A lot of people say savings time. I
Yeah.
heard that. Like, I've heard it both ways, and it's no
Oh,
S on the
okay.
savings.
Good to know.
So that's a trivia question right there.
Is it
Daylight
daylight
savings? I
saving
don't
or
know.
savings?
Savings. It's saving time. We're
Saving.
saving time, not savings
Gotcha.
time. Okay. So standard time. Mornings are lighter and evenings are darker. That's what
Okay.
we're in right now. That's what we're in right now. The
This is
mornings are
standard.
lighter and evenings are darker. Yeah. So
Okay.
evenings are darker now.
Yes.
They come sooner, in other
Yeah.
words. And this morning it was nice and bright outside because,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course daylight saving time. Mornings are darker and evenings are lighter. Vice versa.
Right.
And that's the whole. Don't forget to fall back. Roll your clocks back an hour or spring forward, which is how I remember these things. But
Right.
then I was like, okay, I know we do this, but I'm 60. I didn't add that in my little bio just a minute ago, but I'm 60 and I should know some of these. Like some of these are like, I should know this stuff. And I probably did at one time. It's just not, I don't have to retain everything I've learned over the years. But one thing I looked up was like, how long does daylight savings time last? And daylight savings time ends on the first Sunday in November, which was what we just did.
Mm-hmm.
On our calendar, it says daylight savings time ends. I said saving, right?
Yeah.
Daylight saving. See, I think I used to say savings. And so, we fell back 1 hour to the standard time. And then, um, of course, the opposite for the daylight saving time. For, I got off track, sorry. It happens. Anyway, the results in standard time lasting roughly like 4 months of the year. So our standard time is only about what we're in now. So if you hate this part, it's only 4 months of the year. Which,
Okay.
we could we could do this.
Right.
And then the one that I kind of prefer, daylight savings time,
Right.
is roughly 8 months out of the year. So they're
Nice.
not equal. It's not equal. They don't
Interesting.
share the same amount of time, but yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I'm
Okay.
thinking
So why do we do it?
I probably knew that, but yeah. Well, here's why. There's a few reasons. I'm trying to decide when I want to share that. One reason that I was always told as a child, I might just do that, but
Okay. Well, maybe. Yeah.
start with that one because you
I think
want to
so.
know too, don't you?
Well, because I think that's what I've always heard, but again, I never questioned it
Yeah.
or
So
like
I was,
what that
yeah,
meant.
yeah, because we're not farmers, and that's what this whole thing was. Like when I was growing up, my mom, who was raised kind of in a farming area. She always told me, "Oh, it's so the farmers have more daylight to do their farming. Like
Yeah.
get their animals fed, get the crops planted, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay, totally makes sense.
Yeah. I was like,
Farmers,
cool.
yeah, more time in a day for all the things that farmers need to do." Because I'm not a farmer; I'm a city girl. I didn't have to do all that stuff. And so I was like, oh, okay. And just I thought, okay, that makes sense. Well, it's absolutely not true. It's actually totally opposite. Farmers actually um, did not care for the time change. Don't care for it at all because I need to find that information. But yeah, I found all kinds of fun things on that. And don't think I'm gonna not tell my mama tomorrow when I see her. It's like that was false information. So like so many people were brought up thinking that same thing, that farmers wanted that more
Right.
time. But the farmers follow the sun. Farm work follows the sun. Like roosters start crowing when the sun comes, like
Right.
near dawn. Not they don't set their clocks back. Like animals on the farm don't go with the time change. They go with the
Right.
sun,
Yeah,
which
that makes
now
sense.
now that you hear it, you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And so
Right.
farmers were like, we still do our do our job the same way we always
Right,
do
like, it
it.
doesn't change
Yeah, the
based
sun.
on the number of time it is. It's
Yeah,
like,
we don't farm by the clock. We farm by the sun. And
yeah,
I was
that
like,
makes sense.
makes sense. Yeah. So when I was researching, it said farm work follows the sun, not the clock. Animals don't adjust their routines when the clock changes.
Right.
Well,
I always see people
duh.
like, their
Yeah.
cats complaining because they have, like, the timer on the, like, feeder for their cats, and then they're like, "Hey, I was supposed to
Oh,
eat an
yeah.
hour," like, "Hello?"
Our
And they're
dogs
like,
know when it's time to eat.
"Right."
You know.
It's that internal clock, like,
Yeah.
this is just a man-made thing, so
Yeah.
why do we do it?
Like our dogs get fed at 5 in the evening, and at 4 o'clock, they're like, "Hello," like 4 o'clock. That used to be 5 o'clock. They're like, "Excuse me, ma'am, where's my food?" And I'm like, their tummies are saying, "No, it's time to eat
Right.
now." It's so funny how our dogs know
Yeah.
that. Um, Another thing that farmers, why they're opposed, it made their schedules harder. This makes total sense now that I know it. But
Uh-huh.
farmers had to coordinate with markets, trains, and deliveries that now operated on a shifted schedule. So now all their farming is like they have to kind of shift their everything they do to fit this later time for like to get their products to the market
Right.
because
Like, it's just inconvenient.
it's very inconvenient. And they're like, no, we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, go figure. So the real reason we did have, so now that we know that that's the farmers are
We know
not,
why we don't do it.
yeah, that's
Why
why
do
we
we
don't
do
do
it?
it. Yeah. So why we do daylight savings time is to make use of daylight, which makes sense to us. Take advantage of longer daylight hours in the warmer months
Okay.
like summer, so people can enjoy more sunlight in the evenings, which I do. I like the longer days.
Oh, yeah.
I get more stuff done. I'm more like I'm just
Yeah.
more productive. Um, Here's one to save energy. Originally, this is
Mm.
but listen to this one. I found this out. I'm learning some stuff too. It was thought that
That's the point.
daylight savings time would reduce energy use because people wouldn't need as much electric light in the evening. So if it's
Oh,
light outside, we don't have to turn
right.
our lights on. We don't use as much energy. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But it has been proven that the savings is very small or even non existent. It kind of makes sense,
Nice.
like why people would think that. Like, oh, like right
Yeah.
now, it's light outside in
Right.
Texas.
Yeah.
It's not in Rhode Island, in
No, it
Texas.
is
So,
not.
but I still have this light on because I need some lights. I need my
Right.
eyesight's, I need light
Yeah, I have multiple big lights because it's pitch
because it's
black
dark.
outside.
So that
And I
makes
mean, I
sense.
mentioned to Trevor, like my boyfriend, I was like, the sun set, and I was like, it's 5 p.m. But I was like, I feel like my day's over. Like, I still have things to do, like record this podcast. But I was like, but my day is over. I should be
Yeah.
getting in my jammies now.
I
I was
know.
like,
Like,
what? It's, oh God, like it's
yeah,
6 p.m. now, and my day should be over, but
I
like
know.
it's
See, I still have
not.
daylight because it's 5 p.m. where I'm at. But we
Whatever.
still have daylight. But that makes sense. Another reason, so we already had, longer hours with sunlight. And then to
Yeah.
save energy, which is not proven to happen because I'm still using my light.
Right.
but
Yeah.
um, but we don't use them all over the house. But anyway, and also to benefit business and recreation. So businesses and recreation benefit from longer daylight hours. Like
Okay.
more daylight in the evening encourages people to shop, to eat out, and spend time outdoors
True.
after
Yeah.
work, which boosts our economy and promotes physical activity, which is very true. Like
Yeah.
we're outside, like we'll go take a walk around the neighborhood if it's lighter outside, or ride our bikes or whatever, take the dog on a walk.
Yeah. Wait,
Or I
so
do some gardening or whatever in the night.
right. But so why don't we just have that, like, that time year round?
Well, there's a lot of people who want that. There's a lot.
Who
Like,
want
well,
it to be, like, darker earlier?
who want the daylight savings time.
No, so, like, why don't we do daylight saving time all the time?
Well,
Where
that's a
it
good
gets
question.
light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So, first of
Please
all,
do.
I will, because first I looked up, like, how long has daylight savings time, I keep saying savings, don't
Yeah,
you?
you do.
Yeah, catch me. I think that was me.
Yeah,
So,
you've
how
said it,
long
like,
has,
4
I
times.
know, daylight saving time has been around? It's been around since 1966. 1966.
Okay.
That's like 59 years. How do I know that? Because I
That's a year
know.
after you were born.
I know. It's like it said that in the U.S.
Wow. So you're, like,
They,
almost the same age as the
yes,
concept of daylight saving
yes,
time.
it became standardized with the Uniform Time Act. I'm going to revisit that in a little bit when I talk about something else. But the
Okay.
Uniform Time Act, 1966. That's why we have daylight savings time.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's for those reasons we just talked about. Like really for businesses and the economy and to save energy, which really hasn't been proven.
Right.
So really the only one it's standing on is just for businesses and for people who just prefer more daylight in a day. I mean, it's really literally we have the same amount of daylight in a day, 24-hour period, but
Right.
awake time. All right, so some of the next things, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my paper because I have some chock full of information here.
I can hear you, like, turning the pages.
I know there's like this. Another thing I was interested in is like, does the entire United States follow? Like, are there some states that don't do daylight
Or, like,
savings
around the
time?
world. So is
Yeah,
this, like, only a US thing?
no. So I mean, the U.S. follows that whole 1966
Right.
law that
Yeah.
was, federal law, the Uniform Time Act. That's the federal law that
Okay.
is why we, the United States, follow it. But I'm not sure. I'm sure this other. I really think that countries that follow it or don't, and I'll get into some of the ones that do, but it's really this United States because I don't know.
We like to be
We like to,
different.
yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. We like to be different.
We do like
Um,
to be different.
so, not all places in the United States, not all the states follow the daylight saving time. Look at me learning.
Even though there's, like, a federal law?
Yeah, but so you are able to opt out of it if you're a state. You can opt out of the daylight
Interesting.
saving time. And there's two states that, only two out of our 50 states that don't follow the daylight savings time. They are, can you guess? Want to guess? It's okay, but you
I'd
on
be
the
like,
spot.
I
One
don't
of
know.
them
Is
you've
it,
been
like,
to recently with your boyfriend.
was it Alaska?
No, it's a
Oh.
different one.
Like,
Try
where else
another
have
one.
I been?
Starts with an A.
Is it Arkansas?
Did you go to
Where?
Arkansas
Oh, we
this
drove
week?
through Arkansas. Where
It's
did I go?
Arizona.
Oh, I've
It's
traveled
okay.
so much this year that I'm like,
She's a traveler like,
Alaska's an A,
she's gonna start.
Arkansas's an A, Arizona's an
Sam's gonna
A.
start singing the United States song. What is that song? Okay, let's not get
Yeah.
into it.
So
Anyway,
Arizona is
so
one of them.
Arizona's one of them, and Hawaii. Let me
Okay,
tell
I
you why.
guessed Hawaii.
Yeah, so Hawaii makes sense because Hawaii's proximity to the equator, right? Hawaii's location near the equator results in very little variation in daylight hours between summer and winter.
That makes
Guess
sense.
how little of a variation between
It's gonna be like 30 minutes
summer?
or something.
21 minutes.
Wow.
21 minutes difference from summer to winter daylight.
Wow.
So they're like, no, we
They're
get
like,
it.
what is the point of that? Set your
Good.
clocks back 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
They're like, no. And
no.
then Arizona, hot climate. I know Arizona also has some cold climates, mind you.
Right.
But listen, the state's
Desert doesn't just mean
desert
hot.
climate. So the
Yeah.
desert, I know, exactly. The state's desert climate and high summer temperatures are a primary reason for not observing daylight savings time.
Mm,
So extended daylight into the evening would mean more heat during waking hours. So during those
true.
hot times in the hotter portions of Arizona,
Interesting.
it'd be bliss. I mean, it gets hot in Arizona. 100 and what? 20.
Yeah,
It's
it gets hot.
ridiculous. And people would need just more air conditioning, which kind of defeats the purpose of saving energy, right?
Right.
Daylight savings time saves them energy.
So if
No,
you, like, travel to Arizona during, I guess, one or the other, like, would it be, like, double the time difference? Like, if you're going into a different time zone, would it be, like, a 2-hour instead of a 1-hour because they're operating under
maybe that's a
a
good
different,
question. Yeah,
like, it's a
because
different
they
time
stay
zone
the
and
same.
different. Interesting.
Yeah, because they stay the same. That's a good observation,
Weird.
Samantha. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
except for
weird.
here's a little exception to Arizona. Excuse me. The only exception for Arizona is the Navajo Nation, which
Okay.
does observe the standard time.
Oh.
Yeah, because they're so close to Utah and New Mexico who follow daylight savings time.
Okay.
So they chose to,
Okay. They're, like, more
yeah,
they're closer to those
they're
guys.
closer to the
Okay.
state that follows. So, yeah. So you can
Okay.
opt in, opt out, whatever. That's
Interesting.
interesting. So Hawaii and Arizona. Yeah.
Huh.
Does that mean that those are the only states that don't want to?
Right.
No. Yeah. So some reasons that states have stopped besides Arizona, and because some states have just stopped. It disrupts sleep and health because some people complain, oh my gosh, I can't, my clock is all off. One
Right.
hour. It's crazy how 1 hour could just mess up our whole
Yeah.
internal
If you
clock,
have
right?
an internal, like, rhythm, that'll
Yeah.
mess you up.
Yeah. And sometimes it affects me. I think it's mostly when we spring forward because I lose an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
Lose an hour. I'm like, oh man, I have
That's
to go to bed
whack.
at 9 because it's really 10. It's just not right.
For real.
Minimal energy savings, if any, because people are like, it does not save energy. It's been proven.
Right.
Right
Like, you
now.
can't use that as a reason
No.
because it's not enough to
Yeah.
matter.
Another reason is it's confusing and inconvenient, which is,
Yeah.
you know. And some people just prefer staying on one little
Yeah.
standard time year round.
Right.
Like,
That's why I'm
choose
like, why
one.
can't we just pick one
Let's
and
choose
do
one.
that all the time?
Yeah. I did a little research into like which states have maybe been, you know, trying to opt out. And it says, let's see, several states have passed legislation or resolutions that would switch them to observing daylight savings time year round if here's this visit federal law changes to allow it. That federal law is that whole
Yeah.
1966 act that changed it. So they want, like, some of the states want to change it, but they can't unless that law from 1966 changes,
Right.
which is interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so it does say states are allowed to opt out of daylight savings time and instead observe standard time year round. But you can't do the other. You can't. The law
Oh,
does not allow states to adopt permanent daylight savings time on their own because of that.
interesting.
Because of that 1966 act. Yeah, isn't that
That's
interesting?
weird that you could pick standard but not the other.
Yeah,
Because that's what I would think do daylight saving time all the time. Because I'm like, in the winter, I could benefit from an extra hour of sunlight in the evening. Like, I feel like that just
yeah,
aids in the, like, winter depression, you know?
yeah. I
Because
think
now it's cold and dark. Great.
I know,
Like,
right?
that doesn't make sense.
And I think that's probably in place because if one state decides we don't want to do that, but then one right next to them is like, no, we're going to stay the same. Like they're not. It's all kinds of weird. Then we
Right.
have different time zones, like
Yeah.
patchwork
Like I said,
quilt
it's
kind of.
time zones and,
So
like, more. Yeah.
I mean, people can
It's
say,
an
well,
added level.
that's what happens if you choose standard time all the time too. But no,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. It's still like,
Weird.
why is this such a thing? Oh, so we kind of talked about globally. Like, do people
Uh-huh.
follow this thing? And it says most countries worldwide do not observe daylight savings time. The decision is often
Interesting.
due to a lack of significant seasonal variation in daylight hours, especially near the equator, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Or they have decided to abolish the practice. They're like, no, we're good.
Yeah, they're like, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah. Like, here's some major countries: China, India, Japan, Russia. They do not observe. Those are like big ones.
Yeah.
In Europe, Iceland, we've been there.
Nice.
Armenia, some country I can't pronounce, Georgia, Turkey.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
In Africa, it says the vast majority of countries in these continents do not use daylight savings time, including South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Pakistan, Indonesia. So
Right. We
a
just
lot of
like
the
to be
world.
different
We
for
like to be
real.
different.
We
So
really do.
in North and South America, partially or entirely, most of Mexico, except for municipalities near the U.S. border, which makes sense because
Yeah.
if like you're bordering someplace that
Heavier
goes
influence. Yeah.
just you kind of want to be on the same clock as them.
Right.
But let's see what it says. Most of Yukon and Canada and several nations in South America, like Argentina and Brazil, which have abolished the practice in recent years. So it's really just us,
Yeah.
kind of.
We
Like the United
really just
States.
like to be different.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah.
But I already knew that about
Yeah,
us.
I did learn that there is proposed federal legislation called the Sunshine Protection Act, which I like the name of that,
Yeah.
which would make daylight saving time the new national standard year round. So there's
Okay.
proposed federal legislation, which is what we need. A federal law has to be changed in order for us to change all that
Right.
stuff. Yeah. But interesting. I learned some things. I learned to
Yeah,
say
you did.
saving and not savings, even though.
You
But
said
anyway.
savings
Oh my
almost
gosh.
every time.
I
I
know.
was clocking it. I was like,
What's crazy is I didn't even know I said that until I was reading somebody like commenting like, it's daylight saving time, not savings. I'm like, what do I say? What do I say?
right. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely say savings.
Yeah.
But
Not
yeah.
anymore. We're
Yeah.
educated
Well,
now.
you said it almost every
I
time.
know, but I'm learning. I put it in my
Take a
brain.
shot every time Tina says savings.
Oh, okay. That could
Drinking
be a fun
game.
game.
Don't. You will get blackout, and we don't want to be responsible for that.
They'll be like, I don't know. Did she say it? Sure.
Did she? Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Is
Anyway.
that like the end of yours?
And wrap. Yeah, that's
And
it.
wrap.
And that's a wrap.
That was super
Yeah,
interesting.
I learned a lot. I mean, some of that, you kind of know or you think you know, but
yeah, I had only ever heard of the farmer thing, and I just didn't care enough to like explore past that. Because I kind of thought about it too, where I was like, well, what's the point of changing? I was like, just because winter, like, I don't know. I was like, that still doesn't fully make sense, but I don't really care enough to go into it. But it's still like a underwhelming answer of like, no reason. We're just kind of like to be different like that. Like,
exactly.
That's pretty much the answer.
Because we just turn back our clocks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you know what?
It's relevant.
And that was one of our questions on our
on
our list.
ever-going list.
Oh, we literally are right here in that time. Like, let's just talk about
that.
Perfect
first episode.
Maybe people are like, why
is this happening?
Well, that's why. And
all right.
One day it will change. All right, Sam.
Yeah. Well, my question, completely unrelated, because that'll be mostly the layout of these episodes is unrelated questions. We're each going to pick one and kind of surprise each other with the question of like, guess what you're going to learn today? So today, with me, we're talking about airplane mode. What is it? Why does it matter? Does it matter? Like, what does it do? All of the above. So we are regular travelers, frequent flyers. And if you've ever been on a plane, you know they make the announcement during all of their announcements. Please turn all your devices onto airplane mode when we're taking off, blah, blah, blah. We all know the spiel. So again, it's a thing I just never really questioned. I was like, okay, yeah, let me turn off. But sometimes you forget. Right. There have been times I forget and I'm like, am I going to make this plane crash because my phone's not on airplane mode right now and I'm looking at Instagram? Like, which also after that point, you get high enough in the air, your phone disconnects anyways. Right. Like it can't reach the cell towers for the most part. Like you have no service in the air. So went into this one. Like where do I start? Because it basically like the what does it do? Airplane mode just disconnects your phone from any and all cell towers, like cell signals, any of those radio waves that are happening in the air that we can't see. Disconnects it from that so that it's not actively trying to connect to those, which is normally what it would be doing as you're moving around. Like on a road trip, it's probably jumping to different cell towers as you move locations, things like that. So I was like, like it disconnects anyways. And then there's Wi-Fi on the airplane. So how does that work? Like, which I think the Wi-Fi, those, to my understanding, connect to satellites because that's
It
probably
must. I always
closer
wondered that too, but
at that point.
that
Because I'm
makes
like,
sense.
how do you have Wi-Fi but I can't have my phone? Which again, even if it's on airplane mode, it's not going to connect to something unless like you're landing. So that's where it gets kind of important, quotation marks, because it's mainly when you're landing. All the phones start trying to connect back to the cell signal once you're landing back on the ground. And those like radio waves that are happening, I guess, will cause like background noise or static or some kind of interference in like the pilot's headset as he's communicating to ground control. Um, so that's like the only issue really that is caused. There has been no cases in the history of ever where a phone not being on airplane mode is the cause of some malfunction or
Thank goodness.
plane crash. Like that has literally never happened. There's no direct correlation between a phone and like a plane tragedy. That's never happened. So I'm like, okay, but why do we care then? Like, because if it's just background noise on the pilot, like I understand that's not ideal. They're communicating with ground control to know where everyone is in the air and all of that. But, and so I guess if it's like all the phones doing it, sure. If it's just one phone on the plane, I don't think that's going to cause much of a
Yeah,
problem whatsoever. You know what I mean? So I'm
yeah.
kind of like, is there a problem? Like, why do we do this? Like,
I
it's,
always wonder that because what if, like you said, you've forgotten to turn it off? I'm
yeah.
sure I have. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking they can't possibly know whose is on and whose is
Right.
off.
They just have like a little ping where it's like, hey, you, 37C, like, cut it out.
You're like,
Like,
ah.
it's like, that's not the case.
Right.
It just is a little bit of like background feedback on the pilot's headset, which I guess is just inconvenient at most.
Hey, I don't know about you, but I want my pilot to be able to hear whatever it is they
Yeah,
hear.
I agree. I agree.
So I get it.
But yeah, it's not like detrimental to the
Right.
safety of the flight. It's just, but like I said, I think if everyone's was like when they said they land
Yeah.
and everyone's phones are trying to connect, that it becomes loud,
Which is when it's
and
most important.
exactly.
I'm guessing I'm not a pilot, but takeoff and landing,
Yeah.
we
I
need
mean, I
some.
guess by the time you're actually landing, I hope you've got everything figured out. Like, I'm clear to go. Cause it's like
Right.
when you're getting close. And
Right.
then you should already know, like, I've got the go ahead if you're losing altitude, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
However, in this research I went down, I did discover that the EU doesn't necessarily require airplane mode. Like, so this is all of Europe generally. Um, which I
Hmm.
immediately was like, that's not true because any plane I've ever been on to or from Europe or within Europe, like from one European country to another, I have always, every single plane I've ever been on in my life, they have made the airplane mode announcement. So I was like, what do you mean? Like,
Interesting.
yes, they do. Because, anyways, so I think it's a newer development, but apparently, and I'm going to try to make it make sense because this is like the tech world that I just don't understand. Like, all the cell signal, radio waves, all that, not my wheelhouse. But my understanding, the US, of course, we like to be different and less efficient always. Um, the networks that we use for cell service and signal and that kind of stuff, those are the ones that they will cause interference on like the pilot's headset. But in the EU, they use different networks for cell service that doesn't cause that problem. Like those wavelengths are at a different like altitude or height or whatever
Yeah.
than the ones the
Interesting.
pilot will be using. Like those, they don't interfere. They don't interact with each other. And so, but again, I was like, but I've still had that announcement every time. And no matter what, like even if it's like an American airline, if I'm going to Europe, like my phone would be connecting to those European cell
Yeah.
towers. It's not connecting back across the Atlantic. You know what I mean?
That's
So
interesting. Yeah, that
I
makes
was like, that
sense.
doesn't make sense. Like, that's cool that they have networks that don't even have that problem. Like, again, I'm sure your phone still won't reach. You're not going to have service in the air, but if it tries to connect, it's not causing a problem. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And why don't we do
Yeah.
that in the United States? Like
I
have that
know. I'm
same
like,
like
we really just like to be
I'm gonna have to
different
look into that
and
more.
extra. But from what I read, it seems like the EU soon enough maybe won't be making those announcements because it said they're trying to get I didn't see the word free, but I feel like it was kind of implied. Like it was like Wi-Fi for the plane that is kind of for everyone. Like Wi-Fi for the plane as well as 5G. Again, I don't understand all of that cell phone talk, but it was like somehow having
Hmm,
5G available on planes. So you would have Wi-Fi and like normal cell service on the planes
that's interesting.
because the networks they use would not cause any problems whatsoever. And
Everybody's
obviously,
gonna be
that's
on.
more convenient as a flyer to have service. You can get things done and be entertained. So we'll have to, plan a trip to Europe to check that out.
I guess I
All
think we
I'm
must.
hearing. We have to go see for ourselves.
Any excuse to travel.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's kind of a weird, underwhelming answer of it kind of doesn't matter a whole lot. Like, yes, you should still put your phone on airplane mode, but are you going to be the reason this plane crashes? No. No, you are not. You're
Yeah,
going to be fine if your phone is left on normal, not airplane mode.
I know. I kind of want to ask a pilot, like, hey,
Yeah, like, I want to know
so
like what it sounds like. Like, like
does it
when
matter a
they're
whole
landing, is
lot?
there a moment where they're like, "Oh, yep, those are the phones connecting," or is it, like
Yeah, we might have to. We might
I
have to
don't know.
interview a pilot about
We'll have
that
to
one.
find a pilot for
Do we
sure,
know any pilots? I'll have to think.
right? Just have to
I
plan a
think
trip and ask the pilot.
I just thought of one.
All I'm hearing, of course you did.
I'm like, oh, my friend's dad is a pilot.
Tina knows
I'll call.
everyone, all those
I just
connections.
remembered, like, oh,
So yeah, those are two strong questions to start out our first
I
episode
think
with.
so. Learning some things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just stay tuned to see what questions we come up with for next episode. We're gonna start with doing one episode every other week. We're gonna do every other Monday. Hopefully, eventually, we'll move to once a week, maybe more than that. That's the goal, but stay tuned. We'll see you next time.